We're going to give it about 1 more minute as folks are still entering. Okay, 1 more person entering now, and then I'll start in a moment. All right, so it looks like I have 7:31 on my clock and everybody is in from the waiting room. It is Tuesday, September 8th. I hope everybody had a nice holiday weekend and is in the swing of things. Right now, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask you all to stay muted, but join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. And so with that, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now if the council could take a moment to unmute themselves so the clerk can call roll.
Cannon.
Here.
Bud Matts. Is he
Bud
absent?
Metz is absent, yes.
Okay. O'Brien.
Here.
Veneziano.
Here.
Assessi.
Here.
Diastis.
Here.
Sunoika.
Here.
With 6 present and 1 absent, there's still a quorum this evening. Members of the audience and those participating on this conference line are reminded that these proceedings are being recorded for current and future broadcasts over the city's cable television channel, as well as their other media outlets. And again, as we continue in this format under these circumstances, a couple quick housekeeping items. The first being that public comments will still be afforded to the public, those members who are joining us on this conference line, so long as you've provided the contact credentials and the subject matter for which you were speaking about this evening before the deadline, which is posted on this evening's agenda at the top of the page. Those members of the public who are present in City Council chambers and listening to the meeting will also be afforded the opportunity to provide public comment in accordance with the procedures applicable to public comment at an in-person meeting for the City Council. Namely, those members of the public must have signed in upon arriving and prior to 7:30. As always, written comments that are submitted at this time will be read during the meeting aloud. And so with that, we can go ahead and begin with this first order of business, which is, my goodness, a motion to approve City Council meeting minutes. And there are 2 minutes from the previous meetings. The first one is for August 18th, 2020 Committee of the Whole. By show of hand, is there a motion to approve these minutes? Thank you, Alderman Diastis. Thank you, Alderman O'Brien, for the second. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to these minutes by show of hand? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis,
Yes.
Sunoika,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, these minutes are approved. The next item is from the August 25th, 2020 City Council meeting. By show of hand, is there a motion to approve these minutes? Thank you, Alderman Sunoika, and thank you for the second, Alderman Diastis. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to this set of minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? Will the clerk please call roll?
Diastis,
Yes.
Sunoika,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessesi.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, those meeting minutes are also approved. Moving on to the next item, which is the mayor's report. This evening, I don't have much to report on. Are there any ward reports this evening by show of hand? Okay, seeing none, now would be the time that we would open the floor up for public comment for the next 20 minutes. However, there were no signatures provided before the meeting began, and there is nobody at City Hall wishing to speak. And as a result, then we'll move on to pending items. And first one is ordinance number 20-38, and that's to approve an ordinance confirming and extending the state of emergency within the city of Rolling Meadows due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is in for second reading. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance by show of hand? Thank you, Alderman Bessesi. Thank you, Alderman Veneziano, for the second. By show of hand, is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, the question is, shall the ordinance be adopted? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Sunoika,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, the ordinance is adopted. This brings us on to the next set, which are the consent ordinances in for first reading. It consists of 2 items, items B and C. Does any alderman wish to remove an item from the consent ordinances? Seeing none, the chair declares it in order for one motion to consider the 2 ordinances in one motion without debate. By show of hand, is there such a motion? Thank you, Alderman Sunoika, and thank you, Alderman O'Brien, for the second. The first item here, ordinance B, or line item B, ordinance number 20-00, approve an ordinance confirming and extending the state of emergency within the city of Rolling Meadows due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And line item C, ordinance number 20-00, amend Chapter 6 entitled Alcoholic Beverages of the Rolling Meadows Code of Ordinances to prohibit the sale of motor fuel in conjunction with video gaming. The question is, shall the ordinances be moved forward for second reading? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cannon,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis,
Yes.
Sunoika.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, those ordinances will be moved forward for second reading. Moving swiftly on to the next item, which is new business, a motion to approve the payment of bills on warrant for September 8th, 2020. By show of hand, is there a motion to approve the warrant? Thank you, Alderman Cannon, and thank you for the second, Alderman O'Brien. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall the warrant be approved? Will the clerk please call the roll?
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis,
Yes.
Sunoika.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, the warrant is approved. Moving on for the next item, which are the consent resolutions. This consists of 5 items, items E through I. By show of hand, does any alderman wish to remove any of the items from the consent agenda for resolutions? All right, I see a couple of hands here. Let me go ahead and pull these up so I can go ahead and put your name assigned next to them. I see Alderman O'Brien, your hand was up first. Go ahead and tell me which one you'd like to see pulled.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just item E for a quick thing, the Halloween hours. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Alderman O'Brien, I think your hand's still up, but I did see another one unless that was taken
Yep,
down.
it should be down.
Okay, thought I saw a second hand, but if not, that's fine. Okay, so now it looks like there are 5 items, moving down to 4 items. So the chair declares it in order for one motion to consider the 4 items in one motion without debate. Is there such a motion? By show of hand. Thank you, Alderman Sonoyka. Thank you, Alderman O'Brien, for the second. So the first line item now is line item F, resolution number 20-R-87. It's to approve the purchase of an ambulance power cot, loading system, and power kit. The next item, line item G, resolution number 20-R-88, is to approve the purchase and installation of an air filtration system in City Hall and the Public Works facilities. Line item H, resolution number 20-R-89, approve the purchase of 10 regulator assemblies for self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA, air packs. The next item is line item I, resolution number 20-R-90, award a contract to the National Power Rodding Corporation to perform sanitary and storm manhole lining rehabilitation. The question is, shall the 4 resolutions be adopted? Will the clerk please call roll?
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis,
Yes.
Sunoika.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, those resolutions are adopted. Circling back to line item E, resolution number 20-R-86, establish a date and time for Halloween in the year of 2020. Alderman Bryan, I know you pulled this, but first need a motion to move forward. Can I have a motion for this item? Thank you, Alderman Veneziano. And can I have a second? Thank you, Alderman Diastis, for the second. Alderman O'Brien, since you pulled it, you have the first bite here at the apple.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And really, it is just more of a quick update. I do appreciate all the residents that did reach out on this. I think there might have been some confusion around if we were looking at canceling Halloween versus the hours. So I do appreciate 16 residents did reach out. 12 were all in favor of doing this. That it's a family decision. The 4 that did not, their obviously concerns were COVID related, but even 3 out of those 4 did say, hey, is if we're personally not comfortable, they're happy leaving out a bucket of candy in front. And as the old adage goes, they'll leave a sign, please help yourself to one, versus dumping the whole bowl in their bag. But really out of that, other than thanking it, the other consensus was if we could just, in any communication city does, once the details are finalized, just always, any broad communications we can do is the reminder if porch lights are on, that's kind of like the universal symbol that those people would like to take part in trick-or-treating, and then just any way we can do that. We obviously know not everybody's going to notice the lights being on, some might be burnt out, but that was kind of the overwhelming request for those in support of it was, hey, can we at least communicate broadly that for those of us not comfortable participating, that the lights would be off. And then for those that are, even though it's daytime hours starting at 3 o'clock, if the porch light or some type of indicator could be on so that people know to approach those houses. Other than that, that was all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman O'Brien. Is there any further discussion on this item? Alderman Veneziano?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too had a handful of residents reach out on this topic, kind of split right down the middle on pro canceling and pro keeping it in place. And I do agree that I think that it's, a family's choice. But a couple suggestions that were made were because it is on a Saturday and with the pandemic, if we could move the hours to earlier in the afternoon, then this way with, the change in weather, kids aren't out more towards evening and we're able to social distance a little safer. So it was suggested by a resident, maybe 1 to 6 p.m. Since it's on a Saturday. And then another suggestion that I did get from another resident was there is that kind of confusion, is the light on, is the light off? If city could come up with a simple sign on a sheet of paper that could be posted on the city's webpage that people could print off, and then print some at City Hall for residents to pick up, and then anyone that wishes to have trick-or-treaters could, display it in their door or window, and then the city would know that that's, a trick-or-treat friendly kind of house. Just an alternative idea to kind of throw out that a resident had. That's all.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano. Any further comments? Manager Crumstock, I see your hand is up.
Seeing that we are in September and when we send out the October water bills, we could do a buck slip just to clarify this for everybody, because as a few members of the city council knowing that we're still working with the CEF and the local businesses to do a daytime Halloween kickoff and Kirchhoff. That's what we're calling it. But we will do some additional information in a buck slip or something with the water bill coming out.
Thank you, Manager Crumstock. Alderman Veneziano, anything more from you, or is you good?
I think that would give us a great opportunity then to create this flyer to put into the billing, the water bills to, have at everyone's residence, and they can display it. And, again, if we could put it on our website, then this way everyone knows that that's what they're looking for. And then there's no more of this confusion. Again, if we're going to do it in the afternoon, is the light on? You can kind of see it, kind of not kind of situation. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Alderman Sonoyka?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just want to clarify whether or not Alderman O'Brien or Alderman Veneziano are putting forth a motion regarding this item to either change hours or any other protocol associated with it.
Alderman O'Brien, Veneziano.
That's what I was just going to ask. I am game. The two people I did hear back with out of the dozen or so that did recommend about changing the hours were for that 1 to 6 time frame. But I do know that, like as Manager Crumstock just said, that they are still working on finalizing some stuff with the Community Events Foundation, the Park District, and I think we were trying to dovetail them so one event could actually go into the next one. I would be game though. I would be in support of Alderman Veneziano does want to put a motion out there to adjust them 1 to 6 o'clock. By all means, it was not a majority from my side. People were comfortable with the 3 to 8. The other idea that was tossed was 1 to 6. If Alderman Veneziano feels strongly about moving forward on that, I would support that for at least a poll.
Alderman Veneziano, do you want to put a motion forward to to change the hours?
I will make a motion that we change trick-or-treating hours for this 2022 1 to 6 p.m. on October 31st.
Okay, and then Alderman O'Brien, you said you would second that, correct?
Yes, sir. As I try to get to the unmute button.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this motion to amend the hours from 3 to 8 to 1 to 6 now? Any discussion on that? Alderman Veneziano, I'm going to lower your hand here. Okay, if there's no discussion on that, then let's have the clerk call roll on the motion to change the hours to 1 to 6.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis,
No.
Sunoika,
Yes.
Cannon,
No.
O'Brien.
Yes.
With 4 in favor and 2 opposed, the hours are changed to 1 and 6. Now let's take this back to the original vote here to establish the date and time for Halloween 2020 with the amendment from 1 to 6. Is there any discussion? Alderman Veneziano, I see your hand is up.
I will also like to then, I guess, make a motion that city staff create this flyer that goes out to in the billing, water billing, with a universal safe trick-or-treating house for the city of Rolling Meadows.
Now,
If we need
Manager
that motion.
Krumstock or Attorney Wolf, is this
Really
just
need
a
that motion?
request for staff, or do we have to put this in the ordinance?
Typically, that would just be a request. We don't need that in the resolution because we would just be doing it.
I would agree.
Okay, so that's not necessary, but we'll go ahead and now take the final vote here on establishing this date and time for Halloween 2020 on October 31st, which is a Saturday, and the hours have been amended to 1 to 6. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Bessesi,
Yes.
Diastis,
No.
Sunoika,
Yes.
Cannon,
No.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano.
Yes.
With 4 in favor and 2 opposed, that resolution is adopted. This brings us on to other business and reports. I do not have any appointments this week at this council meeting, but I will have 2 more coming in the next couple of weeks as soon as I get the final confirmation from the individuals. I don't have any proclamations to give either at this evening's meeting. Is there anything from the city clerk's report this evening?
Not tonight, maybe next time.
All right, wonderful, thank you. This brings us down to the city staff reports, and the first item on here is the community items of interest. So with that, Manager Krumstock, I'll hand it over to you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. One phone's off, so we're on that other line. So if it looks different, we're using the other line now. So we do want to thank everybody for listening and sticking through. This will be the long part of the council meeting. We do want to thank everybody who donated to blood drive on Thursday, August 27th. The next one is scheduled for Thursday, October 22nd, and it will be from 1 to 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Due to the need for social distancing, appointments are really needed for this event and may be scheduled by contacting my talent at 877-258-4825. Wearing of a face mask is required. Walk-ins will only be accommodated if no scheduled appointments are present in the council chambers. The city is looking at conducting another blood drive sometime in 2020, and there still is a big need. That other one might be in December too. We do want to thank everyone who attended the city market held on Saturday, August 22nd. The next one is scheduled for September 26th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Community Church at 2720 Kirchhoff Road. The Rolling Meadows Marching Band for this period of time will hopefully be joining the market at this event. And again, face coverings, social distancing are part of this event, and there will be a tent for the mayor and city council at this event. We do want to mention, if you have not done so, please take a few minutes out of the day and respond to the U.S. Census survey. Rolling Meadows is doing a great job at responding. As of September 1st, when this was written, the Rolling Meadows response rate was at 79.2%, and it is outpacing the overall state response, which is at 69.8%, and Cook County, who's at 65.3%. And again, we will have more information on this. This is one of our COW meetings. I do see on the people who are on the overall computer, Megan is on there too. We do appreciate all that she has done as part of the complete count group. But again, this is one of our COW items that we have coming up. We do want to mention that on Saturday, October 3rd, Public Works in the Swank will be conducting an electronic and document destruction event from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Public Works building located at 3900 Burdick Street. Obviously, we do want to mention that there are elections in 2020. Make your vote count by mail during early voting or on November 3rd. You can do this in different ways, but one is register to vote. If you have recently moved, changed your name, or are a new voter, you will need to register to vote. Register online by October 18th in person or through the mail by October 6th. If you miss these deadlines that were just mentioned, register to vote during the grace period, October 7th to November 2nd, and then on election day. The second part is voting by mail. You can vote by mail for the November 3rd election, and these ballots can be dropped off at designated mailboxes, mailed by the U.S. Post Office, or dropped off in person during early voting hours at designated locations. Third part is also early voting. Voting is available at designated Cook County locations. Please visit the Cook County election website for these sites. Number 4, we want to mention election day voting. Polling place hours are 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 3rd. And if you have any questions about voting or obtaining a ballot by mail or any additional locations that might be for early voting, please visit cookcountyclerk.com or call the clerk's office at 312-603-0906. We do want to remind people that the second installment of the Cook County property tax bills are out, and property owners have until October 1st to pay without any late charges. The second installment was actually due on August 3rd, but thanks to an ordinance passed back in May by the Cook County Board of Commissioners, property owners can now pay without any interest charge through October 1st. We do want to mention what we've been mentioning for the last month and a half. A mailing has been distributed throughout the community that requires all water customers, residents, and businesses to participate in the city's cross-connection control survey. This online survey is required by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency every 2 years for all public water supplies. The survey helps to identify potential cross-connections that may exist within the city's water system. The online survey portal can be found at www.backflow.com/rollingmeadows. And then we do have here in City Hall a nice supply of Census 2020 masks. If you would like one, please come. We've given and distributed about 400 of these at this point in time over about the last month or so. But we do have plenty over here. They're nice and blue and white. And again, they are free to anybody to take. And then regarding the U.S. Census, we do want to mention that the U.S. Census 2020 takers are walking throughout the community. They will have U.S. government IDs and Census 2020 bags. They are practicing social distancing, and they really only stop at your location if they've not completed a census or information needs to be confirmed. Another friendly reminder for residents and businesses, if you're having a hard time paying your utility bill or food and beverage payments, please contact finance at 847-394-8500 or by email at finance@cityrm.org. They may be able to place you on a payment plan. In this regard, the city has received a few calls from residents who are asking about their water usage on their water bills because it is higher at this time. As a reminder, residents are working at home remotely, and now that kids are home e-learning, this is also attributed to your higher water bills. And again, if you need any assistance or you need Public Works to check into something, please call us at between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Obviously, we want to mention, please shop, dine, and order in Rolling Meadows is more important than ever. During these times, it is significant to remember our big boxes, restaurants, and small businesses, and really all those individuals throughout the community. We do want to mention, as we've been mentioning before, on Thursday, September 24th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. in the City Hall Council Chambers, the Planning and Zoning Commission will be conducting a public hearing on recommended revisions to the Rolling Meadows zoning code. Copies of the revised draft code will be available online at www.cityrm.org or at the Community Development Division at City Hall during normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Residents or businesses who have questions about the proposed zoning code updates are welcome to contact Community Development Division Planning Assistant Elizabeth Payne at 847-870-9033 or PAYNEE@cityrm.org. Or you can always contact Assistant Public Works Director Joanne Carlton, who's actually on the phone with us tonight and video. We also want to mention that for a lot of people who've been calling in since they've been seeing articles in the Daily Herald, and there have been obviously calls to Finance Director Melissa Gallagher and myself regarding the Daily Herald article regarding Cook County and the CARES Act. The city has submitted for funding reimbursement requests for the Cook County with CARES Act, also known as Corona's Relief Fund, in the amount of $316,925 to help fund the city's response to COVID-19. Cook County sets this amount for each municipality, and the request is subject to their final review. The $316,925 is the total amount the city can apply for, and staff work with Cook County staff to complete the request and application process. We do want to also mention that for people who have been calling about community development, especially regarding complaints and inspections over the last 4 months are holding steady or slightly higher than they are year over year from 2019 to 2020. Inspections are showing a constant decrease over 2019, but this is also due to mostly the fact that community development has suspended all non-essential rental inspections this year due to COVID-19. We do want to mention, as what we just talked about with the Halloween trick-or-treat hours, staff is working with the Park District and also the Community Event Foundation for a Halloween trick kick-off on Kirchhoff is what it's being called, but it's a trick-and-treat safely in Rolling Meadows, specifically on Kirchhoff Road businesses this Halloween. It would be tentatively scheduled from Saturday, October 31st between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And most of the, if not all the activities would be outside. About 85 to maybe 90% of the businesses that have been visited are really happy that we're trying a new event. But there would be trick-or-treating, tunnel of fun or fun house if we can do it, scavenger hunt with the Park District, autumn trail and festive decor, photo booth with characters, music, costumes, giveaways. And again, this is really being sponsored by the city, the Park District, and obviously through the Community Event Foundation. It is still something that we'll have more at the community hall meeting, but again, it's something that would be new, and we're trying to overall do these events. With that, those are items of interest.
Thank you, Manager Crumstock. Then moving on to the next item here, it's the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget. And for that, I will defer to Finance Director Gallagher. When you're ready, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, City Council. In the packet for tonight is a link to the city's 2021 proposed budget, which can be found on our city's website at cityrm.org under the Transparency tab. We are also going to be printing up copies, which are available at the library and also at City Hall should a resident wish to view that on a paper format. We are setting up meetings right now with the Mayor and City Council to review the budget on a detailed one-on-one meeting process that we typically do. This staff report is a very brief report to just release the 2021 budget and then also provide you the calendar. Over the next few months, we will review and discuss each of the city's funds, and this is just the initial release and planning calendar. What I did want to note, of course, as we've been talking about since April, is that we have an uncertainty in due to the pandemic as far as COVID-19. We also don't know the duration of the entire pandemic. This is a very unprecedented time for all municipalities, all employers, all of our community. And the City of Rolling Meadows has taken steps to help the community, residents and businesses and employees keep safe during this challenging time. We have made, as a city, a significant, we're showing estimated revenue shortfall for 2020 and also 2021. The city has taken a number of actions to work through this process in terms of the COVID-19 reimbursement programs. We're also looking at the use of reserves in the 2021 budget, and we use reserves to mitigate some of the early estimate shortfalls. High unemployment and lower revenues contributed to the city taking early and decisive action to ensure that the city's high-quality services continue to be delivered. So tonight is just a release of the budget, but I wanted to highlight a couple of important information items for the community and the City Council to know. While we have an anticipated substantial loss of revenue, we have reprioritized expenses wherever possible, deferred capital items, and held the line on all expenditures. We're looking at all the funding reimbursements possible, as City Manager Krumstock mentioned. We have submitted to Cook County for COVID-19 or maximum allotment from Cook County. We are also submitting to FEMA for reimbursement. There is no increase to the property tax levy, and there are no increases for water, sewer, stormwater, or refuse as proposed in the budget. Coming up, we will be having the first Council Committee of the Whole meeting discussion on September the 15th. Then there's a property tax levy hearing for the public hearing on the property tax, which even though it is a zero increase, you still do have a hearing for the public to attend, and that will be September 22nd. And then the hearing for the 2021 proposed budget will take place at the October 13th City Council meeting. Just highlighting a few items in the planning calendar attached to the staff report. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Finance Director Gallagher. Let's continue with the next line item, then the July 2020 financials.
Thank you, Mayor. Included in the packet tonight is the results of operations as of July 31st, 2020. As we've mentioned, we're trying to keep the City Council and also the community updated as to where the city is sitting financially. I'm not going to review the entire report in detail, but I did want to mention that the memo does consist primarily an analysis on the general fund. And then we added some new charts that might be useful to review. We always have the all funds year-to-date income statement and then the cash and investments report. As we know that, as I mentioned in the proposed budget release, we have a significant shortfall in revenues, and we're trying to mitigate wherever we can, reducing the expenditures, and the city took action by allowing reserves to come into the general fund. At this point in time, revenues all in through the month of July are coming in about 59% of the budget, or $20.7 million year to date, a little bit above the target for the year of 58%. Expenditures all in are coming in at $20.7 million, a little bit above the target, and that's due primarily because we also record an expense for any items for the pensions. We are showing that local use tax is up, and that's a positive upward trend, and you'll see that in the charts, and that's primarily due to internet sales being up. In addition, we will not have the legal marijuana sales tax information until October, but that tax did start in July. I wanted to also just quickly highlight again that the COVID-19 reimbursement programs, the work that staff is doing, and of course the City Council approving the intergovernmental agreement for the CARES Act was so important. We've been working closely with Cook County on our application, submitted the application for the maximum allotment, as City Manager Krumstock mentioned. Anything that deals with COVID-19 in terms of PPE, sanitizing, protective barriers, and any kind of items. There are a few on the council agenda tonight. Those will be submitted to FEMA for review and request for reimbursement. I also just wanted to highlight on the utilities fund and a couple other short items on the utilities fund. We are a little bit lower than estimated for our budget in terms of revenues. That is attributed to, of course, businesses. Not all businesses are up and running. A lot of folks are remote, as we know. As we've mentioned before, if folks do need assistance with their utility bill, just to call us at City Hall. In addition to that, we're trying to keep everyone apprised of any other information within the memo itself. And with that, that's just a high-level overview of the city's financials through the month of July.
Thanks for sharing the insights on that, Finance Director Gallagher. Let's go ahead and move on to the fourth item here, which is a change of pace from financials to the Traffic Review Committee report. Director Horn, when you're available, I'll let you take the lead on this.
Mayor, this is Joellen Charlton. I'm filling in for Director Horn tonight.
Okay, well, happy to hear that you'll be doing this instead of the Director Horn who's not here.
Thank you. Just real briefly, want to mention that in your agenda packet tonight are the notes from the August 5th, 2020 Traffic Review Committee. There's some brief updates on 4 of the items that committee has been following up on, so I would be happy to answer any questions that people might have or provide any additional feedback the council has. Thank you.
Thank you. Manager Crumstock, if you're still here, then I'll go ahead and kick it off to you for the September 15th, 2020 Committee of the Whole draft agenda.
I'm still here.
Right.
So we do have a Committee of the Whole meeting, as the Mayor just mentioned. It does look long, but hopefully some of these will be quick. But the first one is obviously the fiscal year 2021 city levy and budget. Then we go to the fiscal year 2021 street program. Then we're going to have a discussion about the Freedom of Information Act, Better Government Association versus the City of Chicago, Office of the Mayor, what implications that actually means. City and the Salvation Army discussion, 2020 COVID-19 family assistance. This would be a different one from what we had before. Census 2020 recap. This is what I was mentioning early, specifically just a recap for the overall how the city did and also talk about the grant. Then we'll have an IRP update, expansion of the police department social services outreach, and that's from Alderman Snoika. And then we do have a tree in the vacant lot across from City Hall, Alderman Cannon. And then obviously what I mentioned earlier, the Halloween 2020 idea that we're talking about and with a little more detail.
Thanks for that. Then we'll fast forward another week out to September 22nd and the draft agenda for that City Council meeting.
So for the fourth Tuesday of the month, September 22nd, we will be doing the second readings of the items that you did tonight, specifically the COVID-19 extension plus the alcohol beverage extension. Then we will have a consent ordinances that consist of first reading of the next COVID-19 ordinance, and then we will also be doing a disposal of surplus city property equipment. We do this obviously pretty much twice a year to get rid of some of our surplus. Then we'll pay some bills. Then we do have some other items that go back to the CAL meeting about the street program. So we will be awarding a professional design engineering services contract for the proposed 2021 road reconstruction and resurfacing projects. Those are the first 2 resolutions. Then we will be awarding a contract for the replacement of entry doors at the Public Works building located at Burdick Street. And then we will also be awarding a contract for the purchase and installation of a smoke and fire alarm detection and notification system for the house at 2809 Owl Drive. We'll also be talking about community items of interest and then also releasing the August 2020 new businesses with that. That is what's tentatively scheduled for the 4th Tuesday of the month.
Perfect, thank you. Then that would now bring us on to matters not on the agenda this evening. By show of hand, are there any matters not on the agenda? And I see Alderman Bissessi, Cannon, and O'Brien. So let's start with Alderman Bissessi. Go ahead.
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned this during the ward report. And Charlene, if you want to chime in, feel free. There's been some discussion within the ward regarding the poor job with the seating and with the sod that was in there. I have talked to Director Horn, and I believe he is addressing that with the contractor. So I just wanted to get that out there for people to understand. That's it.
Thank you, Alderman Bessetti. Alderman Cannon, I saw your hand come up next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going back to the community items of interest, I know staff announced that we're going to have that paper destruction event on October 3rd. I just wanted to forewarn them. I would ask them to contact Palatine Township. They have
We may have lost you after Palatine Township, Alderman Cannon.
Grove Road and around the corner. So they literally had like a mile of traffic. I just want to make sure our people are aware that it could be, I think a lot of people have cleaned out their closets, including us, and they found things that they want to get rid of, and a lot of people were taking advantage of that. I just don't want them to be overwhelmed that day. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You know what, Alderman Cannon, if you could, and it might have just been my connection, but I lost you right after you mentioned Palatine Township.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure that they're aware that the Palatine Township event was overwhelmingly successful. They had over a mile of traffic getting into the event. So I want to make sure we were aware that they could be overwhelmed. That's all.
Noted. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. Alderman O'Brien.
Great, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple, and I'll also offer Alderman Veneciano just our update from the Economic Development Committee that we'll bring back to the group. We did meet last week. I've got in my notes kind of four main things that I wanted to pull from the agenda. So the committee did go ahead and select a chairman. Mike Reppy from Reps Place was selected as the chairman for the committee. The second one is the Meet Chicago Northwest group, and the president of that board and committee came out to speak with us. They are looking at filling a vacancy by a current representative from Rolling Meadows. So that was put out to the Economic Development Committee. No decision's been made on that, but there was a great overview of the services that Chicago Northwest presents. I'm sure Alderman Veneciano or myself are more than happy to talk in detail about some of the services they do offer if anybody has any questions. The third one, Meadow Drive, the old fire station 15, has been getting some foot traffic. Nothing specific on that. I know Alderman Cannon did ask for one of those updates at a previous meeting. So that has been getting some foot traffic going through. Nothing able more than that to be shared. But from the business advocate update that was provided, as well as Rosati's, that was a common question I guess staff's been getting, is Rosati's is getting ready to open for their takeout only. And then last but not least, is we did talk about this last time, and the council was in full support of it, the City Savers program. There is right now works of setting together a special meeting for the committee. It does look like the Economic Development Committee will be meeting on Monday, the 21st, to have a special session regarding looking at a longer term marketing and strategy for longer term approach. Phase one, there is actually literally, it's fluid. It's been going on in the last couple hours with emails going back and forth about the website, getting the website open for the City Savers program to do the free marketing advertising for the local businesses. That will be discussed and rolled out quickly, as everybody understood on the the EDC as well as City Council. Time is of the essence on that. So other than that, Alderman Veneciano, feel free to, if I lost anything out there. Otherwise, I do just have one more question.
I think you did pretty good.
All right. I'm glad our notes aligned. And then, Mr. Mayor, that was a question I had on here, but I think you hit on it during your update, is for your appointments, you're looking at, that's for the one more on EDC and the one or two more on planning zoning. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're estimating, as long as they get back to you, that would come before us on the 22nd is your plan?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. That's all I had.
I'm glad you're concerned. Alderman Veneciano, your hand. You're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so an item not on the agenda. I did get some residents' email and phone calls in the last couple days, and I know staff did just kind of touch on this for a moment. Water bills have seen a large increase, and some inconsistencies. And so I would just ask staff to, just double check with that and make sure that, there was no issues with, when our new billing system took place. I've had several residents, tell me that they hadn't done anything out of the norm, the last month. And, several of them had asked, was there water usage increase in the rates? And I assured all of them that there was not. So I would just ask staff to really take a look at that and see if that's something that we need to address, if there was an inconsistency in the changeover. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano. Any other matters not on the agenda? Alderman Sunoika, did your hand go up? I was trying to lower Alderman Veneziano's, and I think they swapped at the same time. Did yours go up?
No.
Okay, never mind then. All right, then if there aren't any other matters not on the agenda, there is a request to go into closed session this evening, and of course it does require a motion and a roll call vote. The items are both for personnel, two separate personnel issues, but they're both of the 5 ILCS 120/2C1 of the Illinois Opens Meeting Act. And with that, I would like to see by show of hand a motion to go into closed session here. Thank you, Alderman Sunoika, for the first, and thank you, Alderman Bessetti, for the second. Again, by show of hand, is there any discussion on this item going into closed session? Seeing none, then will the clerk please call the roll?
Diastis,
Yes.
Sunoika,
Yes.
Cannon, Cannon, we can't hear you. I'll come back. O'Brien,
Yes.
Veneziano,
Yes.
Bessetti,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
With 6 in favor and unopposed, we will enter into closed session. So the audience and any press that are on this evening's conference line are advised that we do not anticipate coming back in or taking any action upon returning to open session. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful evening, and council and staff, I'll see you on the other conference line for closed session shortly. Thank you all.